All right, back again, chapter 11. So now we're going to move on to sexuality in childhood and adolescence and how do we develop sexually, I guess, in the sense, right? So, sexual development in childhood, right? Obviously, sexuality in childhood and adolescence, and how does, in context, right? So, how do institutions, our family is an institution, our culture is an institution, society in general is an institution, school, church, right? Religion, all these things, right? And then your rights to sexual well-being. What's your questions? Um, so, so obviously, right? We've been saying in the previous two chapters, right? Our families and our cultures have expectations of us and are teaching us to fit into our roles, right? Fit emotionally, mentally, and so that starts from day one, pretty much, right? And then, of course, we're going to go through puberty and resilience that allows individuals to grow and thrive in spite of the challenges and risks that they encounter, right? And I talked about this a lot. Like, to be different just is a risk, puts you at risk for different things. Not necessarily danger, risk and danger, not synonyms. Okay. So, biology, family, and culture. So I'm born a boy, and I am expected to be a certain way. I was expected to behave a certain way. Uh, and so I start getting taught. My attitude is shaped by by those things, my family, my culture, all those things. My attitude towards women, attitude towards everybody, attitudes towards the LGBTQ community, right? All those things are being shaped as a child. But and that in turn uh, shapes how I see my own sexuality and how safe I feel developing my own sexuality. And so here it is. It grows and it changes throughout our lifespan. So, um, we're sexual beings from day one, right? Infants get erections. The babies have been known to have orgasms. Um, And so, all right away, people start playing. Babies play with their own genitals. Uh, and we talk about curiosity, masturbation, right? Typically, the first person you have sex with is yourself, right? Let's get real. Um, the first person you experiment with is yourself, right? But here we go. Children are interested in sex in the beginning. When I was a kid, it was playing doctor. You show me yours, I'll show you mine, right? Girls, boys. Here it's like I said, between starting at age 4 and 5, and what are appropriate sexual behaviors and what are inappropriate. Masturbation is natural and harmless. It doesn't. You're not going to go blind, and or any of the rumors that they used to have back in the 50s and 40s, I guess. I don't know. Right. So we're already getting in sex play. Boys and girls, they play house, they do it right, and then it's the play doctor, that kind of thing, right? See, and already we have a script, right? We see our parents, whoever that is, it doesn't matter, and that's who we are. So, and then here's your little chart: touch this, touch that. Normative behaviors and a different typical behavior, atypical behaviors. There's a long chart there you can go through. And then at 10, right now, with the magic age of 10, right? So now I don't want the girls, the females especially, don't want to be seen by the boys. They don't want to be seen. Their body is changing. They want more privacy, and they're starting to grow into a different person. And then, of course, there's puberty where biologically you're going through incredible changes. And all these things happen outside of your sexual uh, advances and beyond all that, right? Physically, you grow, you get taller, you get bigger, you get heavier. Your hair changes, everything changes. You're starting to become going from a childhood body into an adult. Mm. Oh, what is puberty for girls and how does that work? You know, and this is, it's not written in stone that from 12 to 14, this is when it's going to happen, right? It happens at different times for different. Uh, uh, so this is the later ages, right? Ages of people starting to have periods. And as you can see, it is changing drastically. Mm. You're going to read the details about that. Puberty for boys, right? Obviously, be different, right? Typically, your first ejaculation will happen while you're sleeping. You'll wake up in a different state. And then the different changes through ethnicities, different ethnicities. Obviously, we have genetic changes that make things a little bit different. Generally, it's the same process, just when, where, how, and all things can be varied. So how do we express ourselves? How do I learn? How do I see who I am? Right now, maybe I'm starting to see that I'm not the average person and I'm not attracted. I'm not looking forward to being this or that. So my sexual identity and who am I becoming and how am I learning about who I'm going to become? So we talk about this, right? Obviously, we all go through the same thing. I'm pretty sure, right? You start, you either same sex or the opposite sex, and you start feeling each other out, touching people, right? Kissing. You start learning. You start doing things. Unfortunately, this is what I've said before. Most people's first sexual experiences are not the greatest because it just ends up being some rushed experience or something where we have absolutely no idea what we're doing. And so the fact that we do it again is just funny. Right? Um, anyway, when do we start having sexual behaviors? And here's the thing: in years, right? How does it happen? And obviously, just historically, as human, right? We People used to get married at 10 and 12 years old. People get married because they only lived to be 30. They also needed to bring in people in an agricultural or different, in ancient times before industrial times when people were dependent on their own land for food, hunting, those kind of things. You wanted to build your family to be able to sustain all that and do all that. And so people got married younger. Obviously, now in this day and age, um, everything is pushed back, including the age of intercourse. Okay. But typically, everybody's having by sex by in their teens. I had some more normative versus atypical behaviors, and then of course when you start having sex, right? These are the things you need to be thinking about. Sexually transmitted infections, making unwanted pregnancies, and conception. Right. And then the institutions, remember I talked about that, your family, your peers, the media, schools, the church, all of these things uh, shape you. And again, I say this, I know I've said it before, don't tell me none of that changed, none of that shaped you because if you're, like I said, at best, that's naive. Believe me. And if you don't believe me, you can talk to any psychologist will tell you the same. So all of those things have incredible influences on us, and whether or not how we deal with that is how we are personally. And like I said, that's where the courage, the risk of stepping out and being something different, maybe. And same thing, who's shaping us and what does the institution say and how does that make us feel and how does that control our behavior? And sex education. See, so we're teaching this, I'm teaching this at the community college level. I do have high school students that are attending the junior college, attending the college, community college, and taking this class. But this class should really be like at least mandatory as a freshman in high school. Like really getting some knowledge before that tripping through your first sexual experience, the blind leading the blind. I think it might it'd be improved if we started educating people much younger. Yeah. Of course, there's controversy about that around culture and family and who should be doing that and why isn't it happening, right? You know, the differences between Europe and the United States, right? Like it says, Netherlands, it starts early and you get healthcare and information and providing contraceptives and all those things, right? We have some of that, and things have certainly changed in the last 70, 50, 75 years, but we're still a little behind the curve, I believe. And obviously, there's laws about age and the consent, the ability to consent to sex. And if children are around the same age, that's one thing. But if an adult is having sex with a child, etc., right? And then there's a such thing as statutory rape, right? Where adults shouldn't be having sex with minors. Uh, and so there's a bunch of legal stuff that goes in there, believe me. Um, and then we come. So, when do you want to be a sexual being? How were you taught? What had shaped you? What do you think how did it end? What happened? And then how was puberty for you? All right. All right. So that's it for today. And yeah, get your assignments done and see you next time.